On Britain's streets, a battle is raging. Over 11 million of us rent.
Oh, God.
But thousands fall victim to rogue landlords.
There's just water cascading through here.
Why should I live like this?
2 million of us are private landlords.
He's owed almost £10,000 in rent.
But many face financial ruin at the hands of bad tenants.
You're supposed to be out by yesterday.
Well, we're still here.
Get your hands up.
Don't push.
And that is what you're dealing with.
In this series, we're on the front line with the enforcement officers who crack down on rogue landlords.
There's a lot of scams going on.
This is gross exploitation. It just can't continue.
And the experts whose job it is to evict bad tenants.
This kind of stump boils my blood.
It can be a little bit scary at times.
Hey! Go! We're called the police!
In this episode,
What are you going to do about the £4,000 that you owe him?
a doctor with a nightmare tenant.
Move it.
Now! Now!
On a dawn raid, a housing team make a shocking discovery.
If something goes wrong here, all hell breaks loose.
And a landlord has to tackle a case of extreme hoarding.
To me, it smells of death. Well,
In Manchester, relations between a landlord and his non-paying tenant have reached breaking point. Simon Howarth owns this two-bed house. For the past year, his tenant has refused to pay him any rent, leading to stress and bad blood on both sides.
Last time I had communication with the tenant was 9 months ago. She had some light bulbs that weren't working, and apparently she weren't paying the rent because of that. She said, "You've not been maintaining the property." I've sent a text to say, "Look, come on, let's resolve this situation, let's meet each other." And the next day I had a phone call off the police to say, "Stop harassing this woman." I mean, don't get me wrong, there probably are some nightmare landlords out there, but I'm not one of them.
A builder by trade, Simon is owed more than £6,000 by the tenant.
The sleepless nights that you have, my wife's been worried about it, made her ill, and we've still got mortgages to pay, we've still got bills to pay, and it makes you think just to sell up and move on. Do you really need this hassle in your life?
2 weeks ago, Simon won an eviction order at court, and his tenant should have left by today. He's en route to find out whether she's complied.
I want to look her in the whites of her eyes and ask her why she's done this to me. Hello? Hello? There's mail there, there's shoes there. So somebody's in. Hello? Nothing. You try on the back.
Simon has been letting this property to the same tenant for 5 years, but over the past 9 months, the rent has stopped and relations have soured.
Oh, it's open. Somebody's in, the dog's barking. Hello? It is very stressful. It's on your mind constantly, and it gets you down. She's living there scot-free. She's definitely in there, 100% she's in. You can hear the dogs barking, can't you? Hello?
By law, Simon can't enter his property until his tenant has either left or bailiffs have evicted her.
It's get out time, time's up, out! She's not answering, is she? She's not answering at all.
The tenant seems to have ignored the court order to vacate the property.
Very angry, to be honest with you, very angry. I just wanted her to go. with no hassle, but you live and learn, you learn by your mistakes, and this will never ever happen to me ever again, ever. There's a daughter there. There's a daughter. There's a daughter there. Because we've got an eviction order for your mother to go today. It's got to go today, yeah. But it's in my rights to knock on that door. I have knocked on. Pardon? I don't care. It's in my right to knock on that door. Because the court says I'm allowed. This is what I mean. This is what I have to deal with. What I have to deal with. There you go. Her mother will not respond to me, so I send a text on WhatsApp to try and get her out. And now she's saying I've sent her abusive text. I've got every text I've sent her, and I've got every text that she sent me. Nothing's abusive, nothing's wrong. All I wanted to do was know what was going on all the time, but no, she's not happy with it.
To end the standoff, Simon will need to call upon professional help.
This means he'll have to get the bailiffs involved now, so it's going to be another 4 to 6 weeks before she's out.
This delay will cost him yet more time and more money.
I'm wound up now, very wound up.
Becoming one of Britain's 2 million private landlords can sometimes mean taking on a whole lot more than just bricks and mortar. 3 years ago, Leslie Ann spent £30,000 buying the cottage next door to her riverside home. But she's not been able to set foot in the place ever since. The property was cheap because it came with a long-term resident, known as a protected tenant, paying a controlled rent.
I was a neighbour for 7 years and landlord for just over 3 years. She moved in February 1983, so she's actually been a tenant in the property for nearly 34 years.
Leslie, a retired social worker, had serious concerns about her tenant's welfare and the conditions she was living in.
She was a hoarder. Because of her hoarding mental health issues, she wouldn't sort of engage in any sort of form of conversation.
Years spent trying to get her tenant and neighbour help proved fruitless.
She was very articulate. She was very forthright. She was at times very aggressive. So there was a personality there that meant that she could actually scare people off. She denied that she needed help.
4 months ago, Leslie Ann learned that the tenant had been taken to hospital and, tragically, had passed away. She was just 61 years old. Her landlord has still been unable to access the property. Coming up,
Oh, dear.
Leslie Ann discovers the full extent of her late tenant's hoarding problem.
To me, it smells of death. Ugh.
And on a dawn raid,
We're from Brent Council.
housing enforcement officers uncover shocking living conditions.
They're being exploited. It's as simple as that.
Leslie Ann owns the cottage next door to her own home. It came with a protected tenant who sadly died 4 months ago. But that didn't mean Leslie Ann automatically got her property back. She's still yet to set foot inside.
I was still unable to go into the property, go down the passageway, do anything to the property, and the reasons being were to do with the fact that there were still outstanding extensive legal issues.
Eviction specialist Paul Champlina has been helping her with this unusual case. They had to get a document called a deed of surrender from the court before being granted access.
It's quite incredible that if a tenant passes away and the property couldn't be passed on to someone else and to carry on the tenancy, we still couldn't get possession. We still had to pursue it through the courts.
The late tenant was a hoarder, so Leslie fears what she and Paul will find inside today.
Oh, it's just everywhere. You can't even get up the steps. Just hoardings and papers and letters and... Ugh. Even through the mask. Stinks.
When you've been told you need protective clothing, you know it's going to be pretty grim. Leanne, we finally meet. How are you after all this time?
My relationship with the tenant was really strained. I'd never actually been allowed to gain access inside the property.
She was reclusive, like she was a hoarder, wasn't she?
Severe hoarder.
Really? The last time anyone has been inside, either yourself or Ian, was in 2015?
Yep.
Okay, right. The next stage is what's in there and how do you deal with it?
Leslie Ann's friend and builder, Ian, is joining the inspection. To avoid the risk of infection, protective clothing is a must.
I'm ready. I don't know what I'm ready for, but I'm ready. This was a really unique and very strange case because it wasn't an eviction. It was us to take formal possession of the property. But God knows what's behind that door. Right, oh God. Oh dear. It's horrendous.
This is the first time in 3 years that Leslie has seen inside her property.
Oh my God. Perfect cooker. Oh my God, that is so dangerous. So she never cooked? Obviously.
No.
When I walked into that property, I was just flabbergasted of how someone could actually live like that.
The cottage is so full of junk that many of the rooms are almost completely inaccessible.
So where does she sleep?
She slept for nearly a year in the living room.
God, how can someone live like this?
I've seen hoarding sort of in my social work career, but not the extent of the severity of the hoarding. We were actually shocked and horrified what we were finding.
The smell is absolutely unbearable. The worst property I've ever been in 25, 27 years.
It's all too much for Leslie Ann, who has to leave.
To me, it smells of death, you know?
The woman, she was only 61, she wasn't an elderly lady. It's just really, really tragic, isn't it, how people have got themselves into. She literally had a little pathway and she was sitting there. So tragic. This is upsetting because you know that someone was dying in that chair. Someone's rubbish is someone else's belongings. You know, these are all her personal belongings.
Paul needs to inspect the whole cottage, but that's easier said than done.
Everywhere you walked, you thought something was going to fall or you thought you were going to put your hand through something. This is so dangerous, you can put your foot through it. Well, I don't even know, where's the stairs? Oh right, that's how bad it is, I don't even know where the stairs are to go upstairs.
The upper floor is so cluttered, even the deceased tenant had stopped using it.
Oh my God. Let me put my torch on. This is her bedroom. She hadn't been up here for years. Oh my God. Are we brave enough to open the fridge? Let's go for it. Yeah, I need to get a bit of fresh air.
It's just so distressing.
No.
You can smell it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean. It's just so tragic that someone can live.
She was dying.
I think what's really hard to understand is someone could just live there, sleep there, stay there 24/7.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so distressing and sad no interaction with anyone else. I mean, just can you imagine just being a person, you can't even walk 5 yards.
For Leslie, this isn't just about the appalling state of her cottage. It's personal too, as her former tenant was also her next-door neighbour.
The only regret is that I couldn't help her, I couldn't save her, that's truthfully that's the only regret,
Leslie's next challenge will be cleaning out the cottage and discovering exactly what state the building is in. By law, properties rented to 5 or more unrelated people, houses of multiple occupancy, need to be licensed by local authorities. It's 6:30 a.m. and Brent Council housing officers are acting on a tip-off about dangerous overcrowding in a 5-bedroom HMO.
Okay, are we ready to roll?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for it.
Unsure what to expect, Head of Housing Enforcement Herb McGowan has requested police backup.
Morning, we're from Brent Council. We'd like to come in.
Brent, passports?
Passports?
Yeah.
So,
What they find is shocking.
This is where you sleep?
Mattresses line the floor of every room, including the kitchen.
it does pull at your heartstrings when you come across situations like that with chronic overcrowding, and you think, well, your son or your brother or some other relative could end up in a situation like that.
It's seriously overcrowded, and I think we just have to try to establish what's happening here. How did they get in here? Who recommended this property to them?
So how many of you are in here?
The housing officers need to establish some facts.
From Brent Council, do you understand English at all?
Intelligent leader? They say that they've been here for about a week.
And they came from Romania or?
Did Romania admin?
No.
Yes.
Okay, alright, okay, that's fine.
We didn't come to steal, we just came here to make some money.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm here to help you. If there's a fire or something like that, there could be serious problems. Our job is about making sure that there is a fence at the top of the cliff rather than an ambulance at the bottom. We are determined to ensure that these properties are properly regulated before something tragic happens.
My friend, why are you stood around the back alley smoking a cigarette if you don't live here?
At the rear of the property, police find more tenants.
Why are you stood around the back alley having a cigarette? Yeah?
And more mattresses.
So there's a bed round here. This is crazy. A bed in a gazebo round the back, open to the elements. Clearly this is gross exploitation. You know, it just can't continue. It's not acceptable. If something goes wrong here, all hell breaks loose. How many people are in this room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A count up shows that there's a minimum of 35 bed spaces.
The colleague brought him over, now he's left. Yes, he brought him here.
Yeah.
He's asked him for £10 and then he's got it.
The team establishes the men paid £10 a night for each mattress. If their figures are correct, someone is collecting nearly £2,500 a week in rent. Herb's next task, find out who.
I need to know who is responsible for letting this room to you.
He comes once a
So he comes once a week.
Yeah. And we give him the money, we don't know his name.
Right.
Not only are these men living in a potential fire trap, but they're also at risk of being evicted without warning by the person operating the scam.
In these types of situations, landlords will often come and say, right, get out now. If that were to happen, we couldn't help you if we don't know who the landlord is. Okay. Tenants in those circumstances can feel a fear of authority. It's our job to develop trust. They're being exploited. It's as simple as that. You know, it's totally unacceptable.
As the men either don't know or aren't prepared to name their landlord, Herb and his colleagues need to track him down.
Thank you very much, gents.
A month ago, landlord Simon Howarth won an eviction order against his tenant, who owes him over £6,000. Today, bailiffs are set to evict her, and Paul Champlina has been helping with the case.
Simon's been really cheesed off with this lady. She hasn't paid for months. I just hope that it's peaceful. You right, Simon?
Hi, Paul.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, same as
You
me.
okay?
Yes, are you?
Yeah, not bad. Shall we go and knock on the door to see if she's...
Is that wise to do before the bailiffs get there?
Yeah, we'll just find out if she's there or not.
Okay.
Why not? Let's have a little indication.
It's locked.
Yeah, exactly.
And they haven't got a key?
No. So it's locked from inside. Right, okay.
The bolted door suggests that the tenant is still living there.
Can't see much, Paul.
Yeah, well, she's locked the outer door, hasn't she?
But then Simon makes a welcome discovery.
It's empty. The property's empty.
Oh, you can see it. Hold on. Yeah, it's empty.
She didn't have the decency to leave the doors open. She locked every door and left every key inside the house.
A locksmith has been called to grant the bailiffs access. And while they work, Simon inspects the garden.
Look at the state of that. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
With the locksmith struggling, landlord Simon decides to take matters into his own hands.
Take your frustration out now, aren't you, Simon?
There you go, that's how you get in.
The bailiffs confirm the tenant has left, and Simon can now discover what state his house is in.
Wow.
It smells a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It stinks of the...
Dog feces, cat feces.
Yeah, pets, isn't it? This is all full of stuff here, look.
The tenant may have gone, but she's left plenty behind.
Oh, look at that.
Oh my God.
Clothes.
Yeah, stuff they couldn't have managed to take.
And a clear-out isn't all Simon's now got to deal with.
Oh, look at the state of this carpet. Oh my God.
Absolutely reeks.
It looks like there's been a bit of a fire there. It hurt me when I walked in it and I saw the state of the property. I just thought, wow, how could anybody, for one, live like this, and for two, leave it in this state? Let's have a look at the bathroom. What's that like? It's disgusting, isn't it?
It seems there's damage to every part of the two-bed house.
Look at this room here. Oh God.
Doors hanging off.
I wonder what's gone on here. Oh.
To blatantly do things like that, disrespectful, and have no qualms about ruining your life, your property.
This is the harsh reality of it when it goes wrong. This is why landlords say, you know what, sod this.
Yeah,
I've had enough.
Yeah.
You know.
That's exactly where I'm at this moment in time. Looking at this now, walking in with you, just think, is it worth it? Total refurb.
It's going to be more money, isn't it?
Simon is already down £6,000 in lost rent and the builder estimates that he now faces another four-figure bill for repairs.
To get this right to a standard that I want a tenant to walk in, I don't think you get much change out of £6,000. Just push yourself down and get on with it, don't you?
Coming up.
So you've been locked out.
Things go from bad to worse for the Brent housing team.
We need to have a full name so that we can take this man to task.
And in West Yorkshire, an evicted tenant refuses to go quietly. When A&E doctor Tariq Mohammed left Wakefield Hospital for a new post in Grantham, he decided to rent out his old family home. It's a decision he's come to regret.
It was tidy, nice, cozy house, no problems. Area was good as well. And I never imagined I will end up in this sort of situation.
For the past year, his tenant has fallen seriously behind with his rent, and Dr. Tariq is now owed nearly £3,000.
My bad luck that I came across a letting agent who gave it to somebody quite undesirable. Very sad. I'm very unhappy, angry, disappointed all together. So I haven't seen the house for the last 2 years.
Today, Dr. Tariq is visiting his former home to check up on it.
I don't expect anything good. Look at that.
Despite the arrears, Dr. Tariq has yet to be granted an eviction order, so he has no right to enter his property today. But just inspecting the garden is enough to confirm his fears.
This is like a dump. You just throw everything outside. It is terrible. It is just like your possession and somebody is messing with it. And you have worked hard to buy that house. The feeling is undescribable. Unbelievable.
Dr. Tariq has been unsuccessfully trying to evict his tenant for 6 months. But with a busy career, he's decided it's time to call in lawyer Chris Sharp from the Landlord Group.
Tariq is a senior doctor in accident and emergency. You know, he has got better things to be doing with his time, and other people will benefit more from his time doing his job than Tariq having to come here today to court, taking time out of his own busy schedule to fight this claim.
Chris Sharp is accompanying Dr. Tariq to court to seek an eviction.
Hi Tariq,
Oh,
good
hello,
to meet you.
Chris.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're good.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Anxious?
Losing money, of course, is a big thing. I worked for it day and night. But more than that is the psychological trauma which I went through. It was like a black cloud on my head.
An hour later, the case is over, after the tenant failed to show up.
He didn't even have the courtesy to turn up today. So the judge was more than happy to make a possession order 14 days. If he doesn't leave within 14 days, then we need to get a bailiff. But this is the final hurdle now.
I got my house back. I am so happy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure.
I was elated. I was really, really happy. But that was short-lived in a sense. Then I came to know that I have to give him 2 weeks' notice to vacate. And I knew, of course, he will not go.
It's been 3 days since Brent housing officers raided a 5-bedroom house and found 35 Romanians sleeping on mattresses. This morning they've returned to discover the men are out on the street.
So it's locked, is it? So you've been locked out?
All the men have been kicked out by their mysterious landlord.
The locks were changed. There's bags all over the place in the rear yard, and essentially they're told that they need to go and find somewhere else to live.
Even though the house is dangerously overcrowded, the men's eviction is still unlawful.
Very nice.
I really do feel sorry for some of these young guys because they're caught in the crossfire. And we have to make sure that tenants see us as a friend, because we are indeed a friend of tenants in those types of situations.
It's exactly what the housing officers were trying to avoid. Over 30 men forced to sleep rough on the streets. But to overturn the eviction, they first need to find out who ordered the locks to be changed.
You've been locked out.
Yeah, he's the boss.
By whom? Who is the boss?
He's the big boss.
Who's the big boss?
What's his name?
We've been trying to explain that we can't help you if you don't give us the information we need.
The officers get an interpreter on the phone.
They're saying that today around 11:30, the landlord, which is Romanian, they came and they evicted them.
We need to have a full name with a telephone number and as much contact details as possible so that we can take this man to task.
The situation is complicated. It appears the men's landlord isn't the owner of the property, but the father of one of the original tenants, and is unlawfully subletting it.
We need him to open the door. No, we need him to open the door so that your son is not prosecuted for unlawful eviction.
It may take time for the housing officers to track down the landlord and any others who are responsible for the scam.
Okay, I think that's it.
It's very disconcerting knowing that these guys have nowhere to stay tonight. I mean, we tried to get the landlord to come back to at least, open the doors because they have paid rent, but he has not shown. So it's just sad that they'll have to sleep somewhere in the cold tonight.
In the meantime, they will have to hand the case over to the homeless team, as 35 innocent men have nowhere to live.
Someone was clearly making a great deal of money out of an unlicensed and unsafe property, and we were determined to follow that money to wherever it leads.
Five months later, and those responsible for the scam are fined over £20,000 by the courts. It's been 5 weeks since the court ruled that Dr. Tariq's non-paying tenant must leave. Today, he and eviction lawyer Chris Sharp are en route to meet bailiffs at the property.
Unfortunately, the reality is this tenant is in substantial arrears. Dr. Tariq really was forced to take this action. He's done all he can, and he's now left with no option but to get the bailiffs involved.
The rent arrears now stand at over £3,000, and the tenant has been ordered to vacate by 3 p.m. today.
I know where you are.
Dr. Tariq's tenant hasn't gone anywhere, and nor of his possessions.
What time is your van supposed to be arriving?
Should be. I think it finishes at 3, so it's only about 2 miles down the road. It's up outside.
Let's take it, liberties. He's waiting for his van. He's got somebody coming down.
For Dr. Tariq, This is all the more personal as it's his former family home.
Is this all going? Did he say?
All that's I'm aware of that's going, Chris, is...
what's in there?
Everything else, I believe, he's abandoning.
That's very nice of him. That's just like fly tipping, but it's fly tipping in a private garage.
I'll have to bring skips. He has made it a dump, a garbage dump.
The inside of the house is also full of possessions that the tenant doesn't appear to be packing.
What plans have you got in relation to the stuff upstairs?
Nothing.
You're just leaving it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about the £4,000 that you owe him?
I'll check on that one.
Yeah, well, the court are satisfied that it was £4,000.
It's not 4,000, it's getting 400 and something per month anyway, so it's not £4,000.
Yeah. Well, you might have mentioned that to the court.
It's all right, I'm not bothered.
Well, we can clearly see that.
Get blood out of smoke, can it?
It stinks, it's a mess.
If I do this to somebody, I can't even show my face to that person.
A van arrives to collect the possessions the tenant is planning to take, but he's not going quietly.
When the eviction started, he was quite rude and disrespectful.
Well, I'll tell you now, you turn it off or I will smash it. And I will go.
I do not appreciate the threats.
Hey, I'm not threatening you.
You're the camera.
No, you're threatening me with my private.
You want me to give you a hand with the stuff?
Just go on inside.
I want him to stop recording me.
And then continue to record, sir.
Right, let me get that back.
This is a great example of what happens when people leave it to the last minute. People's emotions get frayed. They could have gone yesterday. They could have gone the day before. They could have gone 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. I thought that at last there would be some remorse, but no, there was nothing at all. I was very angry and very hurt.
After a year-long battle, Dr. Tariq's tenant finally leaves.
Thank you.
You've got your property back.
Thank
Thanks
you.
ever so much. I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thanks. See you later on.
Dr. Tariq can now enter his house for the first time in over 2 years to discover what state it's been left in.
It's smelling.
Oh, it stinks.
Oh, shoot.
Coming up,
This is total garbage.
Dr. Tariq discovers the true state of his old family home.
How you can do this to what he has done?
And in Cambridgeshire, clearing out the Hoarder's cottage brings fresh problems for Leslie Ann.
Lucky that hasn't collapsed. It's not even disrepair, it's beyond repair, full stop.
In Wakefield, Dr. Tariq's non-paying tenant has been evicted, and the A&E doctor is finally back inside his former family home.
It's smelling.
Oh, it stinks.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, just there's all that is dog pee. It just reeks.
Yeah, he has taken my money and all that. I can forgive him. I can forget it. But not the state of the property.
There are more unpleasant shocks upstairs, in what was once Dr. Tariq's children's bedroom.
Look at that. Oh, this is a garbage. This is total garbage. It is. I can't even let my trousers touch the floor. It stinks. Nauseating.
How does it compare to when you let the property out to him?
It was spotless.
Yeah.
Absolutely spotless, honest to God. He has erased my good memories for that house. Now I don't see my children running around there, but I see...
It's just a mess. Look at the carpets. It's just...
How can he do
Look
this?
at this.
How you can do this too? what he has done.
The £4,000 in lost rent and legal fees is just the beginning. Dr. Tariq now faces a huge bill to make this house habitable once more.
Disgusted. Cheated. Feeling cheated. I regret such person came to my house.
Three years ago, Leslie Ann spent £30,000 buying the cottage next door to her home. It came with a protected tenant, a serial hoarder. Her tenant died 5 months ago, leaving the property in a terrible state.
This was the worst because you couldn't get to any of the rooms because it was just chocker with food stuff, rubbish on the floor.
It's taken Leslie Ann 7 weeks to clear out all the rubbish.
The carpet absolutely covered with rats' feces. Rubbish bags piled high, a decomposing mouse in amongst all that. And underneath the settee, there was like sort of human sort of toilet tissue paper, food, and it had all been stuffed underneath. As we removed sort of some of the cushions, the mice had made 3 nests.
Leslie Ann discovered that her tenant's hoarding problem extended to far more than just junk.
Although this is still stacked up, this is all sort of stuff that came out from the bathroom. It's all brand new stuff. Brand new boots and shoes and everything. We've given to the charity sort of probably about 50 pairs of as well, on top.
Now that the rubbish is gone, Leslie Ann can see the true state of her property.
It's the electrics, it's the rot. We uncovered some seriously dodgy wiring sort of, and switches. I knew it was bad, but sort of I didn't anticipate any of this.
Worse was to come. It turns out the cottage is no longer structurally sound.
There's so much rot in all the joists, in the floorboards, the windows, the roof, and it's literally slipping into the river. The whole thing sort of is collapsing. Lucky that that hasn't collapsed, truthfully, because if that collapses, what you've got is then sort of you've got the whole roof. It's beyond repair, sort of. It's not even disrepair, it's beyond repair, full stop. Yeah, there's been a few tears. There are 3 victims in this case. There was the tenant, there was me as a landlord, and the 3rd victim is the property. It was an 18th century, beautiful 2-bedroom cottage. Sad to see sort of, you know, sort of such a waste of a property. So a bit of history has gone.